again. This is chapter 4 of Weeds in the Garden of Freedom. All rights to both the book and presentation are reserved. Please make yourself comfortable and we'll begin right away. Chapter 4, Self-Recriminations. Colette turned in her seat as Oscar maneuvered the car. She pinned the key with her eyes and she said, "No, you cannot do that. We have to be strong for Marie and Bertie. Tearing ourselves down right now when we need all of our resources to help them is self-indulgent, Aki. We have enough to deal with right now without stirring up old phantoms and regrets." Aki groaned and said, "Paulette, what was I thinking?" "I know you believe that Paulette drew Hans into our lives by going to Argentina, but you know that the entanglements went way beyond what Paulette did as a young girl and a pining old woman. It's high time that we realize that she was just a child when she was victimized by Hans. In some ways, she had the worst of it, worst of what he could do to someone. I think she really loved him." "I fear you're right. That's what I will always find impossible to reconcile. She loved a monster and she never loved me." "You have to stop this, Aki. You'll break Colette if you go on this way. Remember, please, remember how this topic applies to her," Oscar warned. "No, Oscar, it's time to deal with this tumor in all of our lives. Aki, can you imagine what would happen to me and to my family if I allowed myself to go down that road? What if I asked myself what I did to attract him in the first place? The guy was a human wrecking ball. If we do not allow the blame to sit where it belongs, with him alone, we all lose. By taking the blame ourselves, we empower the evil to stay alive. We have the power to keep him alive if we allow our brains to be infected with his poison. We have better things to do, more important things to do." Bertie said that he had an experience in his coma that indicated that Hans had sunken right out of our lives and into the inky blackness that spawned him. "I beg you to leave him there," Colette pleaded. "I'm married to a wise woman, Aki. I think you should listen to her," Oscar grumbled from the driver's seat. "We have a whole lot of wounded people on our hands right now, including ourselves. You will have to tend the ones in Paris, and that includes Marie. As much as we might want to have her here with us, Colette and I have decided that this is not the place for her right now. It would be selfish to keep her with us. The memories are too raw. You have to take her back with you to where he was still alive and happy. She cannot stay here in this place that represents the destruction of her hopes and dreams. She will return when she's ready, when she can remember life here and not only death. You kept her alive for me, and I promise to keep her alive for you," Aki assured them. On the way to the restaurant, Aki told them that Jean-Luc had arranged for flights for Paris, the Parisian contingent, that evening at 10. Aki said that he had Marie's ticket and she had already agreed to go with him. "Colette convinced her to go," Oscar replied. "At first she didn't want to, but her mother said that this was not the time for her to take care of others, but a time to take care of herself. She balked at that, of course, but she knows how strong her mother's love and wisdom is. So I think it gave her pause. When she came back to us, she had decided the one thing she could still do for Philippe was to love the people who loved him in Paris. I think she had to frame it that way to give herself permission to leave. Please don't let her exhaust herself in tending to others right now." Aki remembered nodding and adding, "I had a friend contact the university to inform them before we left. Marie cannot go back to school immediately to complete her 6th year right now. She's far too wounded. She has 2.5 more years. after she completed the 5th year in Montreal and the previous term in PSL. Your twins informed me of something that Philippe told them in a dream last night. They said that he told each of them separately. That is why they were whispering to me in the church before the Mass. They said that they did not know what the words meant, but that Philippe had told me to send her to England to finish medical school at Oxford. I was astounded. 2 little boys who did not even understand the words were pointing the way toward the future. I'm fully prepared to make the arrangements, but I did not want to do so without asking you for your input. That's the end of chapter 4. We hope you'll come back for the next chapter, which is called Standing. Thanks for coming. I remain your friend Deborah. Bye-bye.